Hi friends, myself K. Lakshmi, Assistant Professor in the Department SNH, Chebrolu Engineering College, Class 8, topic diffraction due to N slits, or it is also named as grating. Diffraction due to N slits or grating. First of all, we know what is the definition of a grating. Grating means simply it is an arrangement on a glass plate consisting of large number of slits and which are parallel to each other and having same width, and they are separated equally with an opaque space. So what is the meaning of opaque space? Means the space which only a light can be traveled, that is very small space. Such an arrangement on a glass plate is known as diffraction grating. That means simply grating means it consisting of large number of parallel slits. Grating constructed by ruling the equidistant parallel lines on a transparent materials such as glass with a fine diamond point. That is, the meaning of a diamond point is very sharp. The ruled lines are opaque space. That means the light, while the space between the two lines is transparent to light and act as a slit. This type of grating is known as plane transmission grating. When the spacing between the lines is equal to the wavelength of the light, then the deviation is more in light produced. So this is the brief explanation about the diffraction grating. So simply diffraction due to N slits are also called as diffraction due to grating. This grating gives a phenomena of diffraction. This is the figure represents the schematic representation of diffraction due to N slits. Here W dash is called monochromatic light, AB is called number of slits, and XY is called screen. According to Fraunhofer diffraction, we have to here use a lens. Now for clarification, here we did not write the position of P naught because there are number of waves are emitted. Here there are number of slits are there are N slits. So the light rays which are emitted or after the obstacle, they meet at a point P naught. So there is no bending of light rays. Automatically the intensity at the P naught is very high. So it indicates the central maxima or principal maxima position. Then what about the light rays bending at the corners of the obstacle and they meet at a point P1? Now what is the position? That means what is the intensity at the point P1? That can be measured with the help of path difference between AP1 to BP1. For this purpose, we have to again use the formulas from previous session, whatever we discussed, that is Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit. In single slit, there is only diffraction is occurring, whereas more than single slit, that is Fraunhofer diffraction due to double slit or in Fraunhofer diffraction due to N slits, there exists two cases. One is diffraction and another one is interference. So let us discuss about what is the position or what is the intensity at point P1 due to bending of light rays meet at point P1. For this purpose, we have to draw a perpendicular. Here E is the width of the slit and D is the width of each opaque space, that is the distance between each slit. then E plus D is known as grating element. This is very important point. So once again I repeat, grating element means E plus D. What is E plus D here? E is the width of the each slit and D is the distance between the each slits. So the sum of the width of the slit plus distance between the two slits, that is small d, E is known as grating element. And XY is the screen. Suppose a parallel beam of monochromatic light of wavelength lambda is incident normally on the grating. By Huygens principle, each slit sends secondary wavelets in all direction. Now the secondary wavelets traveling in the direction of incident light are focused at point P0 on the screen. This point P0 will give the central maxima. Once again we observe the figure. Here it is the grating. Grating means it consisting of number of slits. So whenever after slit the light travels in the same direction, then they meet at a point P0. That means there is no bending of light, so there is no change in its intensity. So these rays are meet at a point P0, gives the position which is named as a central maxima. But some of the light rays are bending at the corners of the obstacle, and due to this diffraction they meet at a point P1 on the screen. Then what is the position of P1 here? That will be found in the next slide. Now consider the secondary waves traveling in a direction inclined at an angle theta. The incident light will reach at a point P1 in different phases. As a result, dark and bright bands are formed on the both sides of the central maxima are obtained. In the previous diffraction due to single slit, we discussed about the resultant amplitude. So here, to find the resultant amplitude in this case, we use the same formula from that. A sin alpha by alpha is the resultant amplitude in the case of Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit. In this case, the alpha value is equal to pi by lambda into E sin theta. But here there are n slits. That means they have n diffracted waves. Now what is the path difference between two consecutive slits is, in single slit it is E sin theta, but in n slits it is equal to E plus D sin theta. So this is the path difference in the case of n slits. So in case of diffraction due to single slit, path difference is only E sin theta, but in case of n slits, path difference is equal to E plus D sin theta. As we know, the relation between phase difference and the path difference is, phase difference is equal to 2 pi by lambda into path difference. So phase difference is represented as delta. So delta is equal to 2 pi by lambda into E plus D sin theta, that is phase difference. For simplification purpose, here we assume pi by lambda into E plus D sin theta as a beta. So the phase difference for n consecutive slits is 2 beta. Hence the intensity in a direction can be found by finding the resultant amplitude in n vibrations of each amplitude A sin alpha by alpha, and the phase difference is 2 beta. So as we already discussed the formula of resultant amplitude in the case of Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit, that value is R is equal to A alpha A sin n delta by 2 by sin delta by 2. So in this case, for n slit purpose, here A value is substituted as capital A sin alpha by alpha, and small n value is substituted capital N, because here we use n slits. So that's why small n value is written as capital N, and already here we find the delta value as a 2 beta. By substituting these all values in this equation, that is resultant amplitude equation, so we get R is equal to A means A sin alpha by alpha, and here sin n means capital N, and delta is 2 beta. So 2 beta, so in the denominator and numerator 2 will be cancelled. So finally here we get only n beta, that is capital N beta. And also here also by substituting delta value as a 2 beta, in the denominator and numerator 2 will be cancelled. So finally here there is only beta value. So this is the final equation is obtained by substituting these all values in this equation. So what is the resultant amplitude on the screen at P1 is capital R is equal to A sin alpha by alpha sin n beta by sin beta. Now this is only resultant amplitude, but we have to find the intensity at the point P1. So that will be occurred by square of the amplitude. As we know the relation between intensity is equal to square of the amplitude. Now simply square the resultant amplitude, that is A sin alpha by alpha whole square into sin square n beta by sin square beta. Here there are two functions. One is A sin alpha by alpha whole square, and another function is sin square n beta by sin square beta. So the first factor represents the distribution of intensity due to single slit, while the second factor, that is sin square n beta by sin beta, is represent the distribution of intensity as a combined effect of all the slits. That means in Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit, there is a distribution function of intensity for diffraction purpose only existed, and more than slits are used, then the diffraction phenomena and also interference is occurring. So the two factors in this equation, one is represented as the diffraction phenomena and another one factor represents the combined effect of all the slits. Now what is the intensity distribution? That means how many cases are existed in this case. In Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit, there exist three cases. One is a central maxima, another one is secondary maxima, and third one is a minima. So here also there exist cases principal maxima, secondary maxima, and minima. Then what is the small change in this here is there exist order of principal maximas in this case. Actually in Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit, there exists only one central maxima or principal maxima, but here in n slits diffraction pattern there exists order of principal maximas. That is the main difference between Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit and n slits. Now what is the condition for obtaining principal maxima in this Fraunhofer diffraction due to n slits is by assuming sin beta is equal to 0. So generally beta value is equal to 0 in the cases of 0, pi, 2 pi and so on. That means it is simply written as plus or minus n pi, where n value is taken from 0, 1, 2, 3. As we know beta value in the previous slide, that is here this is the beta value. Actually here we discuss 2 pi by lambda into e plus d sin theta is equal to 2 beta. By simple calculation of 2 and 2, the value of beta is pi by lambda into e plus d sin theta. Now this value is substituted here, beta value substituted here, then we get here in the case of beta value, here beta is equal to plus or minus n pi where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So here on both sides pi value is cancelled. Now cross multiply the lambda. Therefore e plus d sin theta is equal to plus or minus n lambda. This equation is also known as grating equation. Now n is equal to 0 corresponds the 0 order of maxima. As I already said that in Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit there exists only one central maxima, but whereas in Fraunhofer diffraction due to n slits there exists order of principal maxima, that is first order, second order, third order, like this. So for value of n is equal to 0 corresponds to 0 order of maxima. For all n values 1, 2, 3 and so on, there exist on the both sides of the 0 order there exist first, second, third principal maximas respectively. So that is the main difference between Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit and double slit. And the second case is minima position. So the condition for minima position is sin n beta is equal to 0. But here again there is a small notification, that is sin n beta is equal to 0 but sin beta is not equal to 0, because already it is a condition for principal maxima. So we cannot use here. So except sin beta not equal to 0, sin n beta is equal to 0 is the condition for minima position. So which values the n beta value is equal to 0 means it is equal to plus or minus m pi. So by substituting the value of beta here, again n into beta value is pi by lambda into e plus d sin theta is equal to plus or minus m pi. By simply on both sides cancel the pi value and cross multiply the lambda, we get an equation n into e plus d sin theta is equal to plus or minus m lambda. This is also an equation for minima in the case of grating. As m value equal to 0, n, 2n, in these cases there exist principal maximas. So simply except m is equal to 0, n, 2n, we get the values of minima, that is at m is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on, n minus 1. Therefore the m values can be taken as 1, 2, 3, n minus 1, n plus 1 and so on, 2n minus 1. So these values are giving the minimum position and which are on both sides of the principal maxima. So here the very important point is we cannot use the m values 0, n, 2n, small n, capital N, because in these values there exist principal maximas, that is first order maxima, second order maxima, like that. So simply except m is equal to 0, n, 2n, the remaining values, that is m is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on, there exist minima on both sides of the principal maxima. That is a very important condition in this case. And the next one is secondary maxima. As we know that the order of any equation is reduced with the help of differentiation. For example, x square order is 2. Now to reduce the order of the x square, simply we differentiation, that is 2x. That means its order becomes to 1 and its order reduced by differentiation process. And in the similar way, the secondary maxima is obtained by differentiating the principal maxima. So whatever we discuss in the same way, that is in Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit, the differentiation of intensity of principal maxima is equal to 0 is the condition for secondary maxima. So again we use the intensity formula here. as the intensity formula is A sin alpha by alpha whole square into 2 into sin n beta by beta. Here A sin alpha by alpha whole square 2 or becomes to constant, because here we differentiation with respect to beta. So simply these terms are becomes to constant value, we simply write on constant side. So here there is only differentiation for this term only, that is sin n beta by sin beta, because here the differentiation is with respect to beta. So again it is a u by v model, as we know the differentiation of u by v model, that is sin square beta into sin n beta differentiation is n cos n beta, as usual sin beta minus sin n beta, sin beta differentiation is cos beta. So as the definition of or condition of secondary maxima, this differentiation value is equal to 0. Any numbers or any factor equal to 0, that means in that factors any one of the value is equal to 0. Let us discuss that. A sin alpha by alpha whole square is not equal to 0, that is clear from starting principal maxima condition. And also sin n beta by is not equal to 0, that is the condition for minima. 2 is also not equal to 0, that is a constant. That means this only factor is equal to 0. These are all not equal to 0. So by equating this term equal to 0, on cross multiplying sin square beta is equal to also 0. So by moving sin terms, sin n beta and cos n beta on one side and sin beta cos beta on another side, then finally we get the equation n tan beta is equal to tan n beta. Now the roots of the above equation other than beta is equal to plus or minus n pi gives the position of secondary maxima, because beta is equal to plus or n pi gives the condition for principal maximum. So simply we omit that value. So here this is the a triangle, here it is cot beta and n. Now n beta is the angle, so the hypotenuse square value is equal to side square plus side square, that is the square root of n square plus cot square beta. Now from this figure sin n beta, that is opposite side by hypotenuse, that is n by square root of n square plus cot square beta. So sin n square by n beta, that is squaring on both sides, so we get n square, the square root is cancelled, so n square into n square plus cot square beta. Now it is divided on both sides with sin square beta. So now sin square beta is multiplied, then n square sin square beta plus cot square beta into sin square beta. As we know, cot square beta is cos square by sin square beta. So sin square beta and sin square beta are cancelled, there is only cos square beta. So cos square beta can be written as 1 minus sin square beta. Now common the sin square beta value here, therefore n square by 1 plus n square minus 1 into sin square beta. So finally we get the value of sin square n beta by sin square beta value is n square by 1 plus n square minus 1 into sin square beta. So this is the intensity in the case of secondary maxima. That means generally the intensity of the principal maxima is I naught sin alpha by alpha whole square. Now this is the intensity in the case of secondary maxima. Now as the intensity of the principal maxima is proportional to n square, that means the intensity of the secondary maxima and the intensity of the principal maxima are in the ratio 1 by 1 plus n square minus 1 sin square beta. As the number of slits is larger, then the secondary maxima will be weaker and becomes negligible when n becomes to infinity. That means as the number of slits values increases, the secondary maxima values are rapidly decreases. Simply we neglect the secondary maxima values. So this is the finally intensity distribution curve for Fraunhofer diffraction due to n slits. This is the final picture of whatever we discuss in these slides. Here it is the n is equal to 0 position, that is 0 order principal maxima, and on the both sides of the 0 order principal maxima there exist first order principal maxima, and on both sides there exist second order principal maxima and third order principal maxima. Already I said that in Fraunhofer diffraction single slit there exists only one central maxima, but in Fraunhofer diffraction due to n slits there exist a number of principal maximas on both sides of the order 0 order principal maxima. Then what about secondary maximas and minimas? So when you observe the small peaks here, these small peaks are represent the secondary maximas. When you observe that these maximas, these secondary maximas are obtained on both sides of the or in between two principal maximas. So in between two principal maximas there exist n minus 2 secondary maximas, and whatever the minimum position is here, the minimum position is, that means on the line when you observe that the minimum positions of the peaks, when you observe that here the minimum positions of the peaks is n minus 1, and they are also lie between two principal maxima. That means for every two principal maximas there exist n minus 1 minimas and n minus 2 secondary maximas. So this is about the diffraction due to a grating or n slits. Thank you.